Hey everyone, it's Mr. Montgomery again, and today we are on lesson 3, which is kind of similar to yesterday, where we were just adding 10 to a number, and I was kind of happy that I showed you a few different ways to add, instead of just always saying, well, it's just 10 more, because that's not always the case. Like today, we're going to have a little bit, bigger of a problem than just going 10 more than the last number that we were at. So, we have much bigger numbers we're working with. So make sure that you have your Robot Turtle book. You're on page 409, which I have written right here for you. So if you don't have your Robot Turtle book, or it's just not open to that page yet, hit the spacebar, pause the video, don't do anything yet, okay? Don't watch anymore until you get that page open. If you do have this page open, well, we're just going to continue and see what on earth is going on. So let me just make a little space here. There we go. So it says use a hundreds chart to find these sums. So pretty much, to say it a different way, we are going to use this 100 chart to help us add some numbers together. That's it. That's all that means. See, they use some fancy math words. That's all. And they want us to show our work and tell how we found each sum. Well, of course we're going to do that. Why wouldn't we? Well, let me zoom in real quick here. Okay. So we have our little red 100 chart. You should have one in your book also. Whoa, too much, too much. Too little, too much. There we go. Just right. So we're going to go through each and every one of these number sentences up top, and we're going to add them together. Okay? So our first one is 8 plus 40. And just in case we need some extra space to write things out, we can write off to the side here, 8 plus 40. And you can write it off to the side too, so we can have our answers with it, because they put some question marks up there, and we can't write over top of a question mark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a different color here, and I'm going to let you guys know how I like to solve problems like this. Okay? Well, when using a 100 chart. And then I'll show you a different, another different way that we could use, if you like to solve a problem like this, just in case we don't have a 100 chart in the future. So what I like to do is find the odd number. And if you remember what I said yesterday, the odd number is one that doesn't end in a 0. He kind of looks different. So in this case, it's the 8. It's not a 10, right? It doesn't end with a 0. It can be a little bit tougher to work with. So we're going to take this 8 and we're going to find it on our 100 chart, which is right here up top. So I'm going to circle it. Okay, you don't have to circle it, but you can point your finger at it. Okay, just put your finger on top of that 8. Because I know that sometimes when we're writing in our book and you try to erase it later, it gets kind of sloppy looking and it can get hard to read. But for me, I'm just going to circle it. Okay, so this is our starting number, is 8. And then we're going to look at what number is in the tens place of the 40. Well, it's a 4. So that means we're going to jump down 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we stop and circle it. You could also think of it as you're jumping by tens to make 40, right? So if you count it by tens, 10, 20, 30, 40. And you still land on the same number. All right, so we're going to practice it this way for now, and then at the very end of this page, I will show you the other way I like to use, which is stacking. Okay, and we'll just go over stacking again. So if we are going to write down our answer here, 8 plus 40 is what? That's 48. So now we have the answer for this first one, 48. All right, so let's try this next one, 30 plus 40. So we can write that down again, 30 plus 40 equals. Okay, now this one is very, very similar to what we did like 2 days ago, where we were just adding a whole bunch of tens together. And if you want to use this hunter chart to help you out, you can. And we're going to do it very similar to the first one that we did, where we can just, well, since they're both rounded numbers, they both end in 0, so we can pick either one. So I'm going to just pick 30, just for fun. I'm going to circle that 30. You can just put your finger on top. And then so I found a 30. Then we look at the tens place number and the other number here, which is 4. So how many jumps are we going to go down towards this 100? How many times are we going to jump if there is a 4 in the tens place? Well, we're going to jump 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we stop right there. Our answer is 70. And if you don't like to, look at the tens place and then that tells you the amount of jumps, if that feels a little weird for you, you can always count by tens as you jump until you reach this number. So 10, 20, 30, 40. You will get the same answer either way. And no matter what, we will have our answer as 70. Okay? Or if you know the quick mental math way, because maybe you don't need a hunter chart, you just look at the 3 and the 4, add them together, you get 7, bring on the 0, 70. Right? Not too bad. And let's do this last one here, 80 plus 12. 80 plus 12. Now, which number do you think would be easier to start from? Do you think it'd be easier to start from the 80 or the 12? Well, if you liked my first rule by picking the odd number, the one that kind of stands out a little bit, well, you would want to pick the 12 because it's not rounded like the 80 is. It doesn't end in a 0. So I'm going to find 12 on my 100 chart, and I'll circle that. And then how many jumps are we going to make going down our 100 chart? Well, if you like my little trick of just looking at the tens place on the other number, it tells us how many jumps. So it's going to be 8 jumps. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Or since we already know that as we move down one row each time we increase by 10, you can also count by tens if that feels more comfortable. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and 80. Either way, you will get the same answer. So our answer for 80 plus 12 is 92. And like I said before, I will show you my little stacking way again, just in case maybe one day we might not have a 100 chart, you know? So let me make some room. So you can leave your answers right there on your paper. But I also just want to show you one quick thing. Okay, so let's do this first one, 8 plus 40, because that one's a little tricky. And you're going to see why I'm saying it's tricky. So if I'm going to write, I'll start with the number 40. And then we have the number 8. Now, am I going to write the 8 under the 4 or the 0? Well, if I want to stack these two numbers to add them, I'm going to put that 8 under the 0 because it's a ones number. It doesn't have a tens place. And then I would just add them up, each row at a time. Each column. So 0 plus 8 is 8, and then 4 plus nothing is just 4. You get 48. All right? And if we wanted to do that one more time with, let's see. Oh. Hold on here. Let me just make some room. Okay, let's do it one more time with 80 plus 12. We have 80 plus 12. Just add each column up. 0 plus 2 is 2. 8 plus 1 is 9. Still get 92. No matter how you like to solve these problems, you will get the same answer. Okay, let's go on to the next page and do a couple practice problems together. So right now we're on page 410. And we're just going to jump right into our guided practice here because I'm so happy they gave us like 5 problems to work on. I love it when they give us a good amount of problems to practice with. I love this because this makes sure that we have a lot of practice, we know what we're doing, and we don't feel like we just kind of rush through things. I like to be able to take our time. Ooh, let me adjust this eraser real quick. All right. Because I like to just kind of walk through this first one with you guys. Okay, so if we have 12 and 2, we're adding these two numbers together. How on earth would we solve this? This one's a little tricky. I'm only saying it's tricky because it's, I feel like it's just a little bit more difficult than the ones that we just did. But the cool thing is they give us a little part of a 100 chart right here. Let me just zoom in a little bit more. There we go. That's better. Nice and clear. Okay, so for 2 plus 12, since they both end in a 2, what I would do, if you're going to use this 100 chart, is I would start with the biggest number, because they're both kind of odd. There's not one that ends in a 0 that is nice and easy to work with. So what I would do is start with this 12. I would find the 12, circle it, and I'm going to add 2. So instead of jumping down and increasing by 10, I'm just increasing by 1s. And it's going to happen 2 times. So 1, 2, and I found it right there. All right, not too bad. So now we know how they got 2 plus 12 is 14. Or maybe you just already knew and you're probably screaming at the computer saying, I know that 2 plus 12 is 14. That's below 20. That's super easy. If that's easy, awesome. I'm very happy to hear that. So that's how they got 14. So let's just do number 2. I'll have you guys try number 2 real quick. I'll just give you a couple seconds because I feel like this is kind of an easy one. Alright, if you're not done, pause the video real quick and you can hit play once you're finished. If you're finished, let's just go through this. So 5 plus 40. 2 different ways we can do this. Using our 100 chart, we can start at 5, which is right here. And we can make 4 jumps because there's a 4 in the tens place there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We end on 45. Right? Or if you want to do this the other way, where we start at 40 and we just make 5 jumps. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Either way, we end at 45. Doesn't matter which way you want to count them. You'll get the same answer no matter what. So we get 45. All right, I feel like we have a good flow of this idea. So what I'm going to do is ask everyone to do number 3, number 4, and 5 completely on your own. Do those 3 problems all on your own. So you can use this 100 chart right here to help you out. If you don't even need a 100 chart, awesome. You don't have to use it if you don't need it. This is just a tool to help you with math, just in case you're having a little bit of a hard time with this. So I'll give you guys a few moments. Go ahead and do those 3 problems completely on your own, and then we'll go over them together. All right, if you are not done yet, that is fine. Pause the video, please. If you are done, we are going to go ahead and go over these few problems together. And of course, I'll show you how to use the 100 chart just in case you need it. So 13 plus 20, I'm going to pick the odd number, which is 13. It doesn't end in a nice even 0 like 20 does. So I find 13, and then I'm going to jump 2 times because there's a 2 in the tens place there. So 1, 2. And I end at 33. So now I know that 13 plus 20 is 33. All right, let's do the next one. We have 10 plus 31. So again, I would pick the odd one, the one that seems a little bit tougher to work with, which would be 31, because it ends in that 1. Trying to be tricky. So I'm going to find that on the 100 chart. It's right there. And I'm just going to jump 1 time because there's a 1 in the tens place. So 1. And I'm already there. The answer is 41. Or if you know the mental math way, the 1 plus 3 is 4. And then you just bring that 1 on over. Okay? So if you can do this stuff in your head, that's awesome. Don't feel like you are being forced to use the 100 chart if you don't absolutely need it. But if it helps you, please make sure you use it. Okay, now number 5. Which number do you think we should work with, 32 or 6? I would actually say to work with the number 32 first, because that seems like a tougher number to work with. Because if we start at 6 and jump around 32 times, that might get a little crazy, and you're going to see a whole bunch of scribble marks that look like this. It'll be jumping all over this chart, and it's going to be really, really tough to read. So I would start at 32, and I'm going to jump over how many times? 6. Now remember, I'm not jumping down because this is a ones number. It has no tens place. So I'm going to jump to the right and increase by 1 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we have 38. So 32 plus 6 is, of course, 38. All right. So if you are not in my classroom, you can go ahead and pause the video right here. Let your teacher know that you're done. If you are, of course, unsure about how to solve these problems with the 100 chart, or just having trouble with this in general, make sure you let your teacher know, okay? Because I know not everyone understands things at the same pace, okay? So maybe you might need a couple more practice problems, and that's all right. Just make sure you let your teacher know. For friends in my class, we are going to go ahead into our independent work next. So for our independent work, we are going to click on our man in the blue box here. Then we're going to click on classwork, and you'll see a little option here. It says 10-3 quick check. Okay, there's about 3 SAVVAS questions on there. If you get that done super fast, you can go to the extra practice. I did give a couple friends an extra challenge. Okay, but also if you get done all the stuff that is there for 10-3, you can also go on Pink Cat, play the 2 new games I put up there. Make sure you practice, get a really good understanding of how to add all these numbers together, get comfortable with it, make sure you're getting 100%, and that's it. I hope this video helped, and if you have any questions, make sure you ask me, and also don't forget you can come after school for help at 2:30 if you need to. Other than that, I hope you guys have fun with this, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day.